Hello everyone, this is Chris from C&L Farms, and just going to give you a quick update. We had some heavy rains last night go through Georgia and the West Georgia area where we're located. And I've got a little problem with water. There's a lot of water. Right now it doesn't really show that, but if you look at the ground here, you can see how smooth the sand is from the gravel driveway here. And that just indicates that water is moving across this at a pretty good clip. So what it does is it runs off of that hill back up there, and it comes down and crosses the driveway and goes out towards the pasture in the field here. And one thing that we like to work on with permaculture is observing where the water's coming from, where it's going, what it's doing as part of that process. And one of the things that we have noticed, and we've noticed over the years, and we've tried to alleviate some of it, is just the amount of water that's moving off of the property or around the property. And it causes problems, obviously. If you look here, you can actually see that there is flowing water, and what we don't want to see is flowing water. What we do want to see is things like swales that are handling any of this runoff that's coming off of that, sheeting down these hills, and it actually fills on contour a swale that is nice and level, and it fills that up evenly, and there's no flowing water in it. So what we have to identify is where this water is coming from, and we know where this water is coming from, which is up off of that hill behind the workshop. So another thing that we need to look at is there's a lot of water that's coming off of this hill, which is behind the little rickety chicken coop that we have right now. So right now it looks kind of ugly. There's no chickens in it. We are going to get more chickens. We had to get rid of the ones we had last year because we just didn't have time to take care of them with the farm and my full-time job and everything. So this is actually a fairly steep hill. I mean, it's not super steep where you can't walk up it very easily, but there's a lot of water that comes off of this this rise here. And we're probably looking at maybe 12 inches of rise by the time we get just past up near the tree line there before you get to the fence. And there's a lot of water that comes down this hill, and it just flows straight down here and flows right across, and it runs right into the side of the building where you can see there's standing water up against the slab that's there. And I've got to do a better job of getting this area down here in front of this building. I've got to move this water better around the building so it doesn't do what it's doing right now. And there's no water inside the building because the building is actually spray foamed, so that spray foam is actually keeping that water from going in. But it does run around, and as you can see, it's just washing right down behind the building. So the lower part of this field behind this building is very soggy and very wet. So as we go around here, you can see there's some standing water on the other side of the building. It is actually flowing over there. You can't really tell in the video here, but trust me, it's flowing. I don't want to walk over there or I'll get my feet wet. But it runs right down and then off the property. So I know where the water's moving, I know where it's going, I know where it's coming from, but the amount of time it takes for me by myself to deal with all of this water, that's the critical thing. And I want to be able to store the water. I want to be able to sink it, slow it down and sink it into the landscape. And another thing that we have a problem with is the amount of water that comes off of this landscape fabric. Now, you really can't tell, but there is a small level swale that runs. You can see the water that has pulled up in it just a little bit. It has sunk in quite a bit, and it runs all the way to the end of this field. But what it does is the water hits this this little swale, and it just sinks into the landscape. It slows the water down and gives it time to actually sink. So these blackberries, they never have to be watered. Even in the middle of the summer, you know, we get a rain, this whole lower field here is recharged with the water. And I need to do a better job of actually making this level spillway here on this end, you know, on this side here, to where the water will actually flow better and actually down and then hit another swale at the bottom of this field, in order to help all of the fruit trees that are over here, the muscadines, pears, plums, peaches, etc., that are over on that side, and the figs. So, you know, I've done a little bit, but I still have a long way to go in managing this water. So, you know, one of the important things with managing the water is you have to have a place for it to go. And with permaculture, what we want is to have an area above, at the top of your system, that is collecting the water, and then as it fills up, like a small retention pond or something at the top of the hill over there, for example, over in that area, as it fills up, it overflows and it hits a number of swales that we put in on contour across the property, and it slowly moves down this hill, because this hill is probably, the backside of the property here is probably, from the very bottom to the very top, it's probably about maybe 6 feet of rise by the time it goes the 300-400 feet to the top of that hill. So there's a lot of water. And as we plant fruit trees in this back section over here, and nut trees and etc., you know, we're going to plant those along those swales, and they're going to benefit from that water that is sinking and is slowing and sinking into the landscape, and it's recharging the ground under those fruit trees. And as long as the swales are set up with level spillways, so the water will actually flow over and sheet down the hill to the next swale, then the next swale is going to fill up, and it's going to slow and sink that water in, and we will be able to retain a lot of water for this landscape, because this backside of the property here, this hill here, the water just sheets right off of it, and it doesn't have time to soak in. So when we get some warm weather, we end up with very hard soil out there. You can't even, you know, put a shovel into it very easily. You can get maybe 2 inches down, and then that's it. So we need to sink and slow that water. So that's one of the key things that we're going to be doing on the farm over the next few years, is planting these trees, putting in, you know, some sort of water retention and water retainment on the property that will help benefit this property long term, because we want to have fruits, and we want to have nuts and trees and you know, things for the animals, for the deer and for the turkeys that come out here, and we just want to have a very nice you know, well established property. And permaculture is one of the things that we are trying to strive towards following as much as we can. Now, I realize that the landscape fabric here is not one of the best things in the world, but in my context, if I didn't have this landscape fabric, it would look like all that right there. And, you know, because I couldn't keep up with it. These blueberries here, they would be non-existent, because they would just get swallowed by this pasture grass. And this is the only way that I can, you know, manage that. But I do have to put in, I'd like to put swales in between each of these rows, just so it will save some of that water and keep these from having to be watered and irrigated. I really don't irrigate them, because there's another swale at the top above that that little blackberry trellis there. There's another small swale, just like the one that's right down here in this area, and it is keeping those blackberries at the top of the hill, you know, watered. So we don't have to do anything for them. So that's one of the benefits of permaculture. And it's one of the things that we really need to strive for in making sure that we have good systems on the farm that reduces the amount of work that we have to do. Because I don't make money, you know, weeding. You know, weeds don't make money for me. They actually take time, and time is money. So if I'm spending a lot of time weeding, then that is less time that I have to plant or to harvest or to expand and get more fields in production, or you know, add more plants, put more trees in the ground. So that's money, and we don't want to weed. So this fabric really does a good job of keeping a large majority of the weeds, you know, away from us, so we don't have to deal with them. Now we do get some. I mean, you can see there's chickweed, and you know, there's other types of weeds where the seeds just blow in off of these fields, but you know, it's not nearly as bad. See, we walk over here real quick and I'll show you a section that's been uncovered for the last season. We had some pumpkins planted in this area, but this little grass area here, this is exactly what 1 year looks like, and I've had to keep it cut. It got up to about 3 feet tall at one point, because I couldn't get in here to cut it with the lawnmower. And you know, this is just over the winter, and you can already see that it is coming back, and it's going to be you know, not very nice if I don't get this tilled under and get this area prepared. But this fabric definitely has to go in certain areas, because it is doing what I don't want it to do, and that is sheet water really fast down through these fields. And you know, I've got a little bit of water that is coming off of and washing out part of the, you can see this washout here. If you look right through there, and it's just washing out until it hits that third bed over there, and that third bed is a little bit raised, so then the water is going to sheet right down the pathway that we walk on, and you know, go out either end. It's a little low in this middle section. As you can see, there's some standing water right there in the middle, but you know, those lower beds, you know, they held up pretty well to this water, this rain that we had last night, because they are a little bit higher than the footpath. So, you know, a lot of things that you have to think about, but you don't have to think about all of them at one time, and you don't have to do anything about everything. You do something as you can, and you know, as you do that, you're going to benefit greatly. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. You know, the farm's doing well. We've got a lot of little plants that are coming up, arugula, and we've got some lettuces and carrots and beets, and some kale that's coming up. So it's really early for us to even have this stuff out here in the field, and we're about to get a cold snap this weekend, so we'll see what happens with some of this. But you know, things are doing well, and things are coming along. I'll give you an update on the aquaponics system and the expansion that we're doing in the next video, but just wanted to give you a quick update. And I know 14 minutes is not quick, but there's a lot to say. So this is Chris, C&L Farms. I appreciate it. If you like the video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll put more content out as we have time to get that done. So I really appreciate everybody that does subscribe and that has watched these videos. It really helps. This is not a money maker for me. This is just a way to get information out to people that are looking for this type of information. So once again, I appreciate it. Thank you for your subscription. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for any comments that you put out there, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.